Sluts, the final frontier. I'm Comrade Britt.
And I am Stripper Pole Pat. These are the voyages of the starship USS Slut Trek, our ongoing mission.
To explore slutty things, both cringe and based, and to boldly go
Where no sluts have gone before. Slut Trek the podcast is here. One half vegan, one half queer. 100% communist, unless we have a less leftist guest. Slut Trek
and Britain, we're
talking, joking, farting and shitting all about Star Trek. Like our buttholes, the show is wrecked. Soy Trek the podcast is here. So listen to Soy Trek right in your ears.
Oh, hunky-dory.
Hunky-dory.
Hunky-dory, what's the story?
I don't know.
Hello.
Hello? Whoa, excuse me.
Hello?
We have a guest live in studio.
Yeah.
Our first live in studio guest.
Oh, yeah, it is.
All of the other guests we have in our studio are now dead for reasons.
I was wondering what that pile was.
Yeah. That's our treasures that we have from them, our trophies, if you will.
Very nice, very
You got to
nice.
keep a memento from every guest you have.
But that's the thing, you're supposed to keep a memento, not the whole body, and we just haven't figured out which part we want to keep.
Right,
And
right.
We just settled on the whole body.
Yeah.
I feel like the teeth are usually good. That's a nice little trophy.
The teeth are usually good, but the problem is, like, you get a bunch of loose teeth, they all pile up, you don't know whose is what, and it's like...
Well, that's why I glued them all to the crotch of one of my pairs of underwear. It was just simpler to just keep them all there, close to me.
Right,
Close to where it
right.
matters,
Yeah. They should make crotchless panties with teeth.
They should.
Yeah.
So it gets smiled at you twice.
Exactly.
Yeah, by the way, so we have a live studio guest today. Why don't you announce yourself? Tell people who you are.
Hi, I'm Lucy Blue Skies. I'm the Star Trek stripper, and I'm the producer of Slut Trek.
Wonderful. And if you don't know what Slut Trek is, why don't you go ahead and explain the history of Slut Trek, the history of Slut Trek and Soy Trek together?
Sure.
Yeah.
So Slut Trek is an immersive theater experience. It's drag, it's burlesque, it's live music, it's comedy, it's circus performances. I first had the idea for this back probably in 2018. I'm from Boston. I'm part of the performance art community there. I've been performing since 2017. And there used to be a little Star Trek show that they did there after during the pandemic. Everyone kind of stopped performing. Everyone moved away. And then in 2021, I was like, I really want to make my own show. I was going back and forth on titles, and then I found you guys. I found your memes, and I saw that you had a Slut Trek shirt, so I ordered that from you, and then we ended up emailing back and forth a little bit, and I asked you, hey, I'm actually going to do a live show. Do you mind if I take that? And you said, of course.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Here you are.
And here we
Indeed. Yeah, so... you're actually here on our coast because as you said, you're from around Boston area.
Yeah, I'm from Boston.
Yeah.
So I flew out here because I am producing another Slut Trek.
Oh.
We will be doing Slut Trek Assimilation in Boston in May 2024. And I'm also bringing Slut Trek to Seattle in September 2024. So I'm here to look at venues and to come on the podcast.
Hell yeah. So assimilation, I assume it's like Borg kind of based, more Borg themed?
It is. So we are doing a fully Borg themed show. And more details will be released as we go. But I'm going to have a combined cast out here in Seattle. So I'll be bringing some people and also bringing in some local performers. So if any listeners are interested and they want to pitch acts, I am going to be taking a small amount of auditions. We'll see.
Okay.
And you two will be hosting both shows.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Well, cool to know. That's that should be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, me too.
So,
So nice.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, mark your calendars. Tentative date, September 2024. Just take the whole month off
Yes.
if you're around Seattle.
Yeah,
so
you
so
have a
can do that.
year.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you have a while.
That's enough. That's enough. Notice you can start to prepare for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say so. So we're here today with something I've actually kind of wanted to do for a while, and you brought it up. I've wanted to do kind of like a sex in Star Trek themed show, but when we asked you to come on, or maybe you invited yourself, I'm not sure.
I
think
both.
probably a little both.
Yeah.
You asked if we could do a Sluts in Trek
Yeah.
show, which I think is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
I've got so much like rolling around in my brain on this subject because
I think that's all you think about is the sluts in Star Trek.
I think about like 4 other things, but
it's top 5. Yeah.
Yeah. It's if you see me staring off into the middle distance, I'm probably thinking about like Jadzia Dax and like her sex toy collection.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Or Curzon Dax and his sex toy collection. Which
I wonder how much they shared. Like, I
Oh,
wonder
yeah.
if it gets passed down with the symbiont. You
I
know
think
what
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I think the symbiont has got to be the really kinky one, right?
Yeah.
Because I think before the symbiont happens, I think they're just like, pretty regular folks, and then the symbiont gets in them, and they're like, I gotta fuck.
Yeah,
kinda-
like they get that worm put in them, and then they just get a box.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You get that worm in you.
I feel it's kind of like the Antiques Roadshow where you ever see those episodes where someone brings something in from their great grandmother and it turns out to be an antique sex toy, and so it's.
I have never seen that Antiques Roadshow, unfortunately.
Oh.
That
Seen the ye old dildo episode?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
imagine it's sort of like that, where it's like they get the box and it's from like the first Dax from hundreds of years ago, and it's just like some polished wooden like dildo, and they're just like, and it's been used by every Dax since. And they're just like, all right, well now I got to use this in my buddy.
Yeah.
I hope they make that canon.
Well, I've been writing letters to Paramount, to Star Trek, and I am just getting cease and desist letters. And
We are getting cease
we
and
are
desist
getting
letters.
cease and desist. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
we are.
we're being threatened by legal action on many fronts.
So you're saying you're the reason we came to the attention of Paramount.
Yeah.
It's not because anyone listens to our podcast or follows any of our social media. They're just like, we need to investigate the guy who keeps on writing about the sex toys.
I have the special victims unit like after me, and they're just like,
Oh man, imagine a Star Trek SVU. Yeah.
oh yeah, that should be a thing. That can be
This,
part.
should that be a thing? I don't think that should be a thing. I don't think they should do that with Star Trek. That would
No.
be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Section 31 will be close enough to the cop drama if they end up making that.
Oh, they could call it
Which, like-
Section 31.
Oh. I like that.
Writing notes, the third iteration of Slut Trek.
Yeah.
Section 31.
Yeah, that would.
That's actually pretty good. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I'm good for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can.
The slutty puns.
Yes, slutty puns.
That's my business, and business is good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about sluts in Star Trek. And before we actually get into it, I want to... I Googled a bunch of stuff. I did some research for this episode. And one of the things I found just Googling like sluts in Star Trek was an Urban Dictionary definition of Star Trek slut that I would like to read. A Midwestern woman in her 30s, usually divorced with or without kids, who prides herself in watching sci-fi shows such as Doctor Who and specifically Star Trek. Reads mostly sci-fi or nonfiction stuff. Probably has tattoos and pierced nipples. These women claim to have never had an orgasm or being always horny. Used in context. Man 1. Samantha is a Star Trek slut. Man 2. Why do you say that? Man 1. 1, she's from South Wisconsin. 2, she's into sci-fi.
I've
3,
never heard that term.
she has pierced nipples. 4, I fingered her for half an hour and she still didn't come.
Okay, one I feel attacked.
Unlike the package I just received.
I feel attacked. I'm not from the Midwest. I just sound like I am.
Fair, fair.
Wow.
Yeah,
Damn. I feel
Yeah.
called out. I don't like that.
yeah. And actually, I'm sorry. It says pierced nippers the first time, not nipples.
Yeah.
Do you have
that-
pierced nippers?
No, absolutely fucking not.
No,
Pierced-
no, not
pierced-
the nippers.
Pierced and nippers.
Pierced nippers. I don't know what that means. Yeah, so sluts in Star Trek. First, we should probably give a definition of slut.
Yeah.
What would you all define as a slut? Because for me, it's someone who is fully sexually liberated.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
It
someone.
doesn't necessarily mean that you're having a lot of sex
No.
or you're doing that with a lot of people, but you feel comfortable in your own body to show it, to act sexual. You know, I feel that that's very empowering for me. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good term. I like being called a slut. I'm
As
very
do I.
comfortable being called a slut. I don't like when people are like, "Oh, don't say that." I'm like, "Yeah, you're not about that.
No, it's
You don't get me."
no, and I'm also very comfortable being called a slut, and I also define myself as a slut.
Yeah, me too.
I've thought for a long time about just getting a little stick and poke that says just slut right here, and
Hell yeah.
I think I'm just going to do that to
No,
myself.
no, get it
one
right
of
here,
these
right between the eyes.
days. Right between the eyes.
Between the eyes.
Yeah.
The eyes. Just stare me in the eyes.
Get it on your forehead.
Don't look at the tattoo.
Yeah.
It's not important. But so inasmuch, I think slut can take a lot of different terms and a lot of different things because it really is, at its base, just someone who acts with their own agency in their own sexuality. In a large part, unless they're being made to do so against their will, like sex workers are largely, in a large part, sluts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they have agency over their sexuality.
And
And
I do like how it is moving away from a more derogatory term and it is a term of endearment.
It's empowering.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And especially now with like, we are coming to like a new age of enlightenment about like sex work and like the reasons it exists and the reasons people do it and stuff like that. And, I'm not sure if I've talked about it on this podcast, but I have done sex work in the past. I used to do a lot of like cam work and stuff and like degradation shows for like weird Midwestern guys,
Oh, hell's yeah.
mostly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've definitely done sex work too. I'm still a stripper.
Hell yeah.
I've done all different sorts of things. Yeah, I find it empowering to be called a slut, though.
Yeah.
I like when it makes normal people uncomfortable.
Why don't you, Pat, why don't you tell us about your experiences as a sex worker down at the docks?
Oh, jeez. Well, I just go down there, when the pirate ship docks, just like
The pirate ship.
servicing the different.
Arr, I want that one's ass
Serving
right now.
Oh, it's like I just primarily service since it's Halloween. I primarily service pirate ghosts.
Oh, pirate ghosts.
Pirate ghosts.
Okay. Davy Jones. Is
Davy
he among-
Jones.
okay.
Yeah. Oh, I've been in Davy Jones' locker. Let me.
Is that why you made me put on this eye patch and peg leg? I'm really uncomfortable over here.
Yeah, and that's why I like to recreate the scene from the Ghostbusters. We're like, oh, he slimed me.
Yeah, you are dripping wet right now. I was wondering what was happening.
I am profusely slimed.
Yeah.
You are very slimed. Yeah.
Yes.
I've listened to this podcast for a while, and I just want to ask: have you guys explored each other's bodies yet?
Not yet. No.
And are you going to do that in front of me?
No.
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 Sorry.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. This has been lovely.
I have performance anxiety
I see.
on the
Yeah.
mic.
Yeah, me
so
too. Yeah, I
yeah.
getcha.
Yeah.
Nice. Sick.
Not yet. You're next.
You're next.
That's the special Patreon episode.
That's you have to be on a very high
That's
Patreon
the
tier.
$500 tier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You watch them explore each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the true explorer, though where no man has gone before.
Yeah.
Tier.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're going to talk a little bit about sex sex work in Star Trek, because it does exist in Star Trek.
It does.
In the far future. Oddly enough, even in like seemingly like non-capitalist societies, where a lot of the reasons for sex work would kind of vanish.
Well, sex work is one of the oldest careers, and I feel like in Star Trek, people aren't necessarily being paid money, but you still have to perform a service.
True.
To be a part of the society, and there's always going to be a need for sex workers. There's
True.
always going to be a need for that, and even if you're not necessarily making money, maybe that's how you live on the ship. Maybe that's how you survive.
Yeah.
It predates capitalism, so it's like, like it's kind of crazy to think how capitalism is like a very recent, like in the term of human evolution.
Oh yeah, I mean it's
And-
the last 300 years of 100,000 years of humanity.
And I hope even in the future, when it does become a distant memory, horrible memory, sex work will still exist in some form, and
Yeah.
it will, we have like in Star Trek V, we have like the cat dancer.
We do.
That Shatner throws into a fish tank.
Yeah. Never throw a stripper into a fish
Please
tank.
don't.
That's not okay.
Yeah, no.
That'll get you kicked out of the strip club
That would,
immediately,
that
and
would.
rightfully so.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
But it exists in many forms, and as you were saying, Lucy, it's just like just what like how it operates will just be different. Yeah.
And also, like, sex therapists exist, and maybe there could be a marrying of the two
True.
careers.
I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
they kind of did that in Firefly.
Yes, I was going to bring that up,
Yeah.
but I can't remember any of the characters' names.
Yeah, I can't remember her
Yeah.
name either, but they had
yeah.
a sex worker on there who,
Yeah.
in their culture, like sex work was like kind of a form of sex therapy, and it was very elevated.
Yeah.
It was seen as a very high status
Yeah.
job. Yeah, and like there's just and she had didn't she have her own protector?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had her own part on the ship too, but I rewatched that last year. Didn't age great. They
Didn't,
definitely
no.
don't treat her with a lot of respect.
Oh, no.
But I also view it through the lens of a sex worker, and I just think we should all be worshipped for what we do.
Yeah.
But
Fair,
that's
fair.
me.
Absolutely. It's from goddess worship.
So the history of sex work goes very far back in the Star Trek universe. I mean, it exists in some form as far back as TOS, when they have quote unquote Orion slave girls who are like
Yes.
dancers.
Yes.
And we don't love sexual slavery.
Yes and no. I kind of like the other take that they have on it, where Orion women do hold the power, and they just do that by manipulating men. Which, if you don't know, that's what strippers do. I know you think we love you, but we're at work. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you're so attractive. I'm acting.
I am playing a part.
Yes.
So let's talk about some specific examples of sex work in Star Trek. First, let's go into one of the worst examples from Enterprise. And Enterprise takes a pretty grim view on sex work. In the episode Rajin, the Orintaku Rajin claimed she was very young when she was kidnapped from her homeworld and sold into slavery for her sexual talents. In 2153, she was placed in Jod's sex slave shop in a floating bazaar on the Xanthan planet. And that's a pretty grim view of sex work, and it's crazy that that's happening with post-warp civilizations. Yeah.
But I think also some of those civilizations are having civil wars,
Mm-hmm.
having intergalactic wars. There's always going to be evils, and unfortunately, sex gets tied into those evils.
Absolutely.
Quite
I
a
mean,
bit.
because sex is commodified
Yes.
by a lot of
Yes.
people and a lot of bad people.
Yes.
And yeah.
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 Yeah, that's why I do like, as you were saying, with the Orions, I do like how they did kind of change that retroactively, saying like the Orions are actually, the Orions aren't actually slave girls; they're playing slave girls.
Yeah.
And but yeah, with the Enterprise example, it's just like no. It's
Yeah. In going to that effect, in Discovery, we see Orion sex workers operating at an embassy outpost in Kronos in the 2250s, both male and female.
Yeah.
Which I like. Yeah, we love male sex workers, and I want to say they had male strippers on the the Lower Decks episode,
They did,
Something
yeah.
Borrowed, Something Green, in a bar there. And so we love to see that, writing, at least if you're going to have, sex work, like, especially in the future, give them equal representation,
Yeah.
We don't, I feel like the TOS view of it is kind of grim and trashy, because they're just like, they say they're Orion slave girls. And I'm like,
And I do feel like at that point it was very like Roddenberry, and like it was 1960s, so they're very influenced by like Adventure Man type comics and stuff like that, where that was like, I feel that had an influence on just people's perspective of sex at that time, and just like it's like that kind of like marred it, and they didn't kind of realize how crappy that was at the time when they did it.
Yeah, TOS is a product of its time. I like it
certainly
for what
is.
it is, but you have to take it with a grain of salt and understand when it was made.
Yeah.
It's progressive, but not by today's standards.
No.
That's just how things go.
That's how things go.
indeed.
Yeah, we evolve. And I do see that as you're saying, like that perspective of sex and women, because even still, like it was like pretty misogynistic, especially in TOS, and to see that perspective evolve over time, and just like Star Trek continually tried to represent the best kind of view of people.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we appreciate that, and we
Yeah.
appreciate like the good writing. Credit to where credit's due. I'm not a huge fan of Discovery, but in that season 1 episode, they kind of deal with Orion sex workers in a pretty like even-handed way.
Yeah.
Pretty good way. Let's talk about how the Federation deals with sex work, and that is in the holodeck.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been, I mean, it's pretty unofficially known that people go to the holodeck and the holosuites to fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's more explicitly kind of pointed out in Deep Space Nine, in the episodes Prophet, Enlace, and Meridian. They mention the people go to the holosuites for pleasures.
Yep, Vulcan Love Slave
Yeah.
program.
Yeah. So, and we definitely know that folks like Geordi and Barclay are on some weird shit in the holodeck.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that was very early. Like, because like TNG, it's like, especially from the first episode, it's just like, whoa, we can make a whole garden that we can go to, like forest that we can explore, and it's just like, and then very quickly, by the episode with the Binars and and the sexy jazz lounge. And,
Oh yeah.
and then
Minuet.
And then like Riker's just like, and then Riker and Picard are already like, are we doing this?
Yeah. Are we
Yeah,
gonna
that-
Eiffel Tower
Yeah.
in the jazz club?
That was heavily implied.
It was
Very
definitely.
heavily.
Picard was like, "Oh, I have to leave." Fine.
Can't I watch, please?
Holodeck, cock chair. And then like,
Pull away, number one.
and then the hotel cuck chair just appears in the seedy jazz club. He's like, proceed.
Hotel cuck chair.
Hell yeah!
Is that, do they sell those at West Elm?
Yeah,
They should if they don't.
they should.
IKEA maybe.
Yeah, it's just like cuck, but it has like those two like little
The-
amulets.
Cook.
Have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, kook.
Cook.
Hell yeah! That's what we're all sitting in.
Yeah. These are all. Every chair is a cuck chair if you don't believe in
That's
yourself.
true. Yeah.
Every chair is a cock chair if you're not fucking.
That's very true. Very true.
Excellent.
Yeah, so, I mean, and the thing about the holodeck is it can fulfill all of your deepest desires. The thing that's great about holosuites is that they're private, whereas the holodeck, it seems, in at least in TNG, people can just enter anytime.
Yeah, unless you lock the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even in DS9, I mean, Garrick gets into Bashir's thing several
Oh,
times.
Bashir leaves that door open.
He leaves
baby.
it open.
He leaves the door open, if you know what I mean.
But I also feel like
the
Garrick,
back door open.
I also feel like Garrick has like his own little set of skills that he probably entered, even if he did lock it.
He probably just knows all Bashir's codes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 That whole like just let yourself in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be in bed.
Simple Taylor 01.
Yeah. Also,
That's
also
it.
Bashir does come off as, even though he's very smart, he also comes off as a bit of a himbo. So it probably is just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just like well, Garrick's like, well, that was easy.
That's the kind of code an idiot would use on their luggage.
Yeah, that's the kind of code an idiot would use on their luggage.
What would you get up into in the holosuite or the holodeck? Sorry to put you on point, but
Yeah, no.
no.
I mean, I think if I'm in a future where I'm on a spaceship, if I'm on a starship doing that kind of job, I don't know if I'm going to need that sort of escapism.
Okay.
I think definitely like during war times, during more tense situations, it makes sense, but there's certain things that seem a little off. The recreating other people that are real and on the same
Yeah.
ship as you.
Yeah.
A little off. And where do you draw the line there? Like, okay, you had a very stressful day. Can you recreate someone and kill them on the holodeck?
Yeah, like
Or
with
is-
Neelix.
yeah, or is that-
Oh,
Tuvok?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like it kind of crosses a line between what is a healthy form of release and what is playing out a fantasy that may then work its way into real life.
That's true. And
yes.
it's interesting that we haven't really seen too much of that aside from Barclay
And
Yes.
and Geordi.
and Geordi.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and really like especially with something like Barclay's episode where he pretty much recreated everybody in there.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
specifically, Deanna and Beverly, and had them like fawning over him.
Yeah, so he could be like the popular guy and he could live out his fantasy.
And they do treat it very non-judgmentally, and they don't seem to be
Yeah.
that offended, which we think that would be, as a woman, I feel that would be very violating to just be.
I think as a person, that's
As a
violating.
person, yeah.
But
I-
at the same
yeah.
time, I think there's a recognition there of Barclay's like true like neurodivergent coding.
Yeah.
Yes, but still, even as a neurodivergent person, there is what is
There's a
appropriate
line.
and
Yeah,
inappropriate.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barclay's universe. I'm not sure if it's appropriate.
Yeah.
No.
Well. Yes.
Barclay's world.
Yeah, and I do, because I do wonder like how they wrote that. Like they just like they didn't really like they didn't have that much input. Like Deanna and Beverly, like saying like this has to end. Like,
I feel like on Rick Berman's Trek, no women had a lot of input except for maybe Jerry Taylor for some amount of time. Yeah.
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 No,
Fuck
I
Rick
think
Berman.
the line would be whether you're on the same ship or not. I think recreating someone on the holodeck that isn't on your ship maybe isn't so bad. But if these are people you're working with on a daily basis, I think that's the line.
Yeah.
But what about like if you just I think it depends on what you do with them in the holodeck.
Yes, if
Like-
you're recreating a situation to have a different conversation or test an experiment a different way.
Yeah, yeah.
But those are clear lines.
Yeah.
It's different than, okay, now, computer remove
And
clues.
the episode where Quark is covertly taking holo scans of Kira, and that's like, and without her consent,
Yes.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to make the sexual.
Question. According to Wikipedia, the age of consent in Washington is 16 years old. By the way,
I'm sorry, that
we
just
have
searched on
two
your computer.
Wait, where's the Pornhub sound? Oh, no. Thank you.
But yeah, it was that was a clear violation of someone's like. I don't want to set it off again.
No,
Just don't say the C word.
Don't
Yeah,
say
the C word.
But the clear violation of someone's C word, and it is kind of interesting
That's
They're
not.
violations of someone's computer?
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I like it. I like it so much more than what you were trying to say. That was sick.
What I say?
Don't worry about it. We're putting it on a shirt.
Because someone's violation of their C word.
I think you got the wrong C word.
I did the C word.
The C word you're not supposed to say is computer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can't wait until someone uses my laptop and I'm like, you violated my C word. You can't touch my C word without consent.
Amazing. The last thing on this list is something I don't know if I would totally agree with, but maybe. So in 2367, William T. Riker prostituted himself by having sex with Linnell in order to escape from Melkorian prison in the episode First Contact from TNG.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that is technically like prostituting yourself, like trading like something, but at the same time, like if you're a prisoner, there's a certain violation of power there that I think goes beyond just being able to call it prostitution.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm trying to remember that episode. I haven't seen that one recently.
It's the one where Riker gets the different forehead.
Yes, where they were like, oh, if you think that's weird, look at this, and they hold up his feet.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. I also think there can be some power in using that to your advantage. And I think he is the sort of sexually liberated person that would see it as, well, I could try to shoot my way out of this, or I could try to shoot a load out of this. And he did that instead.
Yes, and you know, Riker's always down.
Yeah.
And you know, she was pretty hot.
He might have been into it too.
I think he probably was. He's like,
I'm trapped.
Gee golly gosh, do I really have to have sex with this woman?
Yeah.
Do I really have to explore her body in order to get out of this jam? Well, god damn it, to hell with it, I will.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, as a Federation officer, he probably knows like the Vulcan nerve pinch.
He probably
something like that.
Yeah.
He was just like, nah, I know where this is going.
He knows the Vulcan clit pinch.
I was going to say, there's a sexual version of that.
There definitely is.
Yeah, he gave them some technology they're not ready for. There's some moves they're not ready for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Call it sex move technology.
Sex move technology.
Hell yeah. So maybe with that, we should open up the discussion about who's the biggest slut in Star Trek. And
we both agree. We know.
I think we all know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be Riker. Or Jadzia Dax.
I was saying
Lwaxana Troy. Yeah.
Lwaxana Troy. She's the number one dick sucker. I don't know if she's the number one slut. She is incredibly slutty.
Yeah.
And she wants to gobble down big time. I don't think her scoreboard is nearly as big as Riker's.
Yes, but your number doesn't necessarily define how slutty you are.
True.
You can be a slut and have no bodies, and that's fine.
Right.
You don't need to have sex to be a slut.
Very true.
Because I think asexualism is just as valid as hypersexualism.
True.
And yeah,
I do feel like she's the most openly sexual and most sexually comfortable. Just
She
like
is.
and talks about it in a very non-judgmental, open manner with people, because she understands how integral it is to human experience, or not human. Well, because she's an alien, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So just experience of like.
So my case for Riker, and my case for it not being Lwaxana, is the motives behind what they're doing.
okay.
Lwaxana is a very incredibly romantic person.
Yes.
She wants true romance. She goes after people who she feels a deep connection to, both like spiritually and mentally, because she can read thoughts.
Yes.
You know, being a full betazoid. Whereas Riker's motive, I see him as a true sexual explorer. He is trying to explore the galaxy via his penis.
Yeah.
And behind that, I see a true spirit of sluthood, at least in the way that I define myself as a slut. And I appreciate that. Whereas, Luxwana she is a big-time cock gobbler, but ultimately her motive is one to truly connect with, like, one person.
Yeah.
Or one being, which is lovely, but not necessarily slutty in a traditional sense.
Yeah, that would make you the biggest slut. I think you're right, actually. I think you're right. Maybe
Yeah.
it is Riker.
But I also feel like I do feel like Riker acted for it, like, and for his own experience, but I feel like Luxana, like, everywhere she went, she tried to influence others to be more open with
That
their
is
sexual-
very
and-
true.
And
That's
she,
very
and
true.
because she wanted a more open and frank discussion about sex.
Right.
And she was not afraid to actually to overtly show, like, that sort of, like, she was fearless when it came to just, like,
Very
how she
true.
approached
In as much, yeah, she was like a very good sexual educator.
Yeah.
In that way, whereas Riker was definitely more just on the ground doing the research. You know what I'm saying? He was a research doctor, where
Really-
she was more of a professor.
Yeah, really hands-on, hands-in.
Very much so. He was getting dirty in the field with it.
Yeah. So I do
Getting
feel
dirty and squirty.
And I'm not sure if it is because, it's like the 90s, especially in episodes when Luxwana would come and kind of just be like be an agent of chaos almost for the ship, because
Thank you.
they would because like the way she would be openly just so open with, like, her sexuality, and just, like, was uncomfortable for everyone, especially Picard.
Oh,
in the
especially
episodes.
Picard. Odo as well. Odo was
as
very
well.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people read into that in that she, like, was not a queen of consent. But I feel like it's more about Odo and Picard's lack of confidence with themselves.
Yeah, or just their modesty.
Their modesty.
Some people prefer to be more private, which is also just as valid as being a slut. There's
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
wrong with not wanting to be a slut. Yeah.
Yeah. And that can be intimidating to a lot of people.
It
and
is, yeah.
and Picard he's a guy who is, like, on the flagship ship of the Federation. He has, like, conquered the galaxy, but he definitely has not conquered his inner self and his sexual agency in a way that Luxana has.
Yeah, and I feel that Luxana like taking on projects almost, where she was like, she knew that there was underneath that surface, there was something she could get to.
And on the same stroke, Odo, thousands of years old, has been, like, wandering the galaxy and just learning new things for thousands of years, but motherfucker hasn't fucked.
Yeah.
Like, I think up until Kira, he hadn't fucked, right?
Not
That was
in
his
the
first
traditional
time.
sense of having
Yeah.
a humanoid form.
Right,
I
right,
think,
right.
Yeah.
Oh no, he had sex before Kira. Remember, there's that card that commemorates Odo's first time.
Yeah,
wasn't
that with Kira?
No, it was with some other woman.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who did Odo fuck? Should look that up. Is Odo a slut?
No.
No, Odo's a fascist.
Yeah.
Fuck Odo.
I also wonder how being fully betazoid and fully telepathic would change your view of sex and sexuality if you were really seeing people's true and authentic thoughts without any filter of embarrassment or,
Right.
or social etiquette.
Oh, no,
How
I'm
that would affect you personally.
Because, maybe Luxwana just knows that Picard is really down to fuck.
Yeah.
And she's just acting on that and being
Yeah.
like, hey, how about I go give you some sloppy? And he's like, no,
Yeah. Which might be very uncomfortable for people who aren't used to that. Just like
Very
how
true.
being a slut around more normal straight people is very uncomfortable for them.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah, it was the first time with Orissa.
Orissa.
Yeah, Orissa wanted to break away from her life of crime, and Odo helped her. He took personal responsibility for her safety, and soon Odo and Orissa fell in love.
Fell in love.
Yeah.
I don't remember that episode at all.
With her, Odo had his first taste of humanoid physical intimacy.
Beautiful. What episode was that?
It was episode 115.
What kind of dick do we think Odo gives himself?
I think it ribbed.
Ribbed?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think barbed.
Barbed.
Barbed like a cat's penis. Yeah.
I've
Or
never
corkscrew
really
like a
thought
duck's
about
cock. Oh.
It may be like one of those things like that has like the vibrating dolphin on it.
Oh yeah. Or one of the rose, those things.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember those kids' toys that it was like a jelly tube?
Oh yeah, we
Oh.
all try to stick our dick in it.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's
yeah, me too,
impossible.
but like, yeah.
Yeah.
I
right
think
at-
it's like that, but it's just like constantly shifting and just like. I hope that's what I think about at least.
Yeah.
That's what I dream about.
Come.
Thank you.
Of course. So, who else do you think is a good contender for sloppiest slut in Star Trek? Because I think we've got a lot of folks here.
Yeah.
Like it's implied that Quark fucks quite a bit.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think so.
It seems like a lot of his fucking is with Dabo girls though,
Probably. Yeah.
and I don't know if that's totally ethical with the power situation because he's like their boss.
Yes, but he's also a Ferengi.
Yeah.
He is a Ferengian,
Yeah,
so like
it's-
all sex is
Yeah.
everything is transactional,
Yeah.
including sex to him.
But also, I think we were talking about this on the Grilka episode. How I think Quark, he kind of just like for show he acts like he's like with the Dabo girls,
Right.
But Quark, his romantic interests have always been with very challenging, like strong women,
Right.
Like he's that's what he's really attracted to. Again, we don't really see him
He
actually.
wants a dominatrix.
Yeah, and like someone that challenges him, someone that's and because he doesn't go for the typical
Someone that hurts him.
someone that hurts him. He doesn't go for the typically, like in the Ferengi society, they have like a very submissive, like women are supposed to be very
No,
submissive.
he likes women who wear clothes.
Yeah, like women that wear.
Clothed females.
And he likes but like he liked Grilka, that one Cardassian woman. Who's,
Pell.
Pell.
And then he's like, wait, you're not like a femboy?
yeah. And he liked Jadzia.
You're an actual girl? I'm not interested no mo.
and he was very attracted to Jadzia. Like there was a point where
But
he was
who
in love with
isn't
Jadzia.
attracted to
Yeah.
Jadzia?
Yeah.
Like,
seriously.
But I
Seriously.
do feel Quark's taste. I do feel, as I was saying, like in the other episode, his taste in women is a little bit more elevated. I think.
so I also am going to make a case for the Dax symbiont.
Oh
Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Esri seems like she doesn't quite get it, but I like to believe it's only because we see like the beginning of her period with the Dax
Yeah.
symbiont, and she settles into it a lot more.
I think also once the symbiont is fully immersed in the person, it melds with them. So if you're not necessarily comfortable being incredibly sexual, maybe the symbiont doesn't make you that way, because why would it put you in such an uncomfortable situation that would cause division?
Because
Yeah.
it wants to fuck so bad.
Yeah, you can fucking not be a slut though. You
That's
know?
true.
Yeah,
That's true.
You can get it on the down low. You can
Yeah.
be quiet
It's the-
about it.
I do feel, I mean, Curzon clearly was
Curzon was a fuck monster.
Oh yeah.
A fuck monster.
like he spent all of his time on Risa.
Yeah.
Like, he was.
Like it goes Dracula, the Mummy, Curzon, because he's such a monster. Fucking. It's,
Nice.
Yeah, he did the monster smash.
Oh, he does.
Like,
it was a graveyard bash.
But like, I do feel like Jadzia. I feel Jadzia. She was very romantically, like we didn't see. She had the clear-headed guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
the guy. Yeah.
I think her attitude is incredibly slutty, and
Yes.
when she wants someone, she lays it on fucking thick. Like we
Oh,
just
yeah.
watched the episode where she gets with Worf.
Yes.
And like some of her delivery is the sluttiest delivery besides maybe Luxwana
Yeah.
in all of Star Trek,
Yeah,
and Riker, I guess.
And she comes off very comfortable with her sexuality and her skin. And I wonder if that also, because of the Dax symbiont that has 300 plus years of just like being a person and having that sort of comfort.
Yeah.
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 Imagine Dax's body count.
Well, the symbiont or Jadzia?
The both.
Do they add them both together when you get a new symbiont, or is it just when the symbiont's in you that you keep adding the number up?
I think it's accumulated.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like
think-
that.
yeah.
I like that.
Like, because the symbiont is like half of you, basically, and you
Yeah.
have all of its memories. And, like, what is sex except a memory?
Wow, get real deep with it. Nice.
Think about that,
Yeah, I am.
right? Like, every moment is fleeting. What is sexuality and sex but a memory?
So if you get
series
if
of
you,
memories.
if you have like the Men in Black mind wiper, you can become a virgin again.
Yeah, I think that's how it works.
Because then they like
Excellent.
you never.
If you
had
don't remember having sex, did you really?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Have we ever really done anything we don't remember?
Yes.
Is,
Regrettably.
I mean,
I've been told by the police and the IRS.
well, it's part of a cultural memory.
Yes.
Like, so if you do something and no one remembers you doing it, if you do something alone, does it matter? Did you ever really do it? You know?
Yeah.
Unless it accomplished something that you can see, hold, and feel. You know?
Wow. I thought we were just going to talk about sluts. This is getting deep.
It's getting deep.
Oh, shit.
Sex is a cultural memory. That's a great place to leave it now. So let's see. What else do we have here? Garrick. Is Garrick a slut? Or does he just really want Bashir's asshole so bad?
I think you can be a slut and just want one person. I
That's
think
fair.
you can be a slut and never have sex. I think you can be asexual and be a slut. I think Garrick is definitely a slut.
Fair?
Yeah.
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 I will. Yeah. I. That's why I wish like we got to. I didn't wish they never kind of like separated Bashir and Garrick at some point.
We can
Because
thank Rick Berman for that.
Yeah, Rick Berman eventually decided to and gave him, and it definitely came off more of as a type of little sister type relationship with Zial, but it was supposed to be kind of like
Yeah.
more.
That
it
was disgusting.
It was very weird.
It was
because
very
it's-
weird because they like aged her up so she could be a romantic interest for him, even though he's like a 50-year-old guy in
Yeah.
a fucking lizard suit, and they're like,
Yeah.
let's give you Ducat's daughter.
Yeah, and because like the relationship with Bashir, I thought was perfect. Just like they're that sort of
No,
like
they're perfect together.
They-
Yeah.
Andy Robinson like makes very direct, specific actions in order to make sure that we know he's like in love with Bashir. Like
Yeah.
In Our Man Bashir, their first holodeck episode together, there was an X on the floor where he was supposed to stand like 3 feet away from Bashir when they're both in tuxedos and talking together. And Andy Robinson specifically walked a foot and a half over
Yes.
it and gets right up in Bashir's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like they're about to kiss, and it's very hot, and you
Yeah.
should go watch that episode right now
Oh, yeah.
That-
and rub one out.
that if they had made it where he eventually does seduce, I mean, obviously, like the Garrick Bashir seduction is like headcanon for basically every single
Right.
Yeah.
Trek fan.
I mean,
But-
they've been explicit about it. Like, at least
Yeah.
Andy Robinson has been very explicit
Yeah.
about it. And Alexander Siddig has been pretty explicit about it as
Yeah.
well. Like, everyone knows if they're not fucking, they won't be.
they won't be.
They won't
I
be.
kind of like the implication without seeing it actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if they had just given us one scene of them walking out in the morning from
Oh,
one
yeah.
person's quarters
Yes.
and never referenced it again, that would be enough. Because
Right.
Yeah.
sometimes it can be quiet. Not everything has to be super
And-
overt.
yeah, especially if they did a thing like Garrick leaves from Bashir's quarters in the morning with like a suit.
Yes.
So you're like, wait, was he there
Still wearing
for
the suit from the
Bashir?
holodeck.
Yeah, or is it Bashir's suit that he's mending, or like did he just pick it up from there, or Bashir leaves with like a medical tricorder or something
Yep.
from Garrick's, from his fucking quarters? So you're like, was he checking up on him?
Yeah.
Medically, or
Who knows what he can make?
Sexually.
Who knows what he make that tricorder do?
that's true. I bet that thing vibrate.
I bet it do.
I bet it do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but yeah, Garrick's sexuality was just like the seduction of Bashir is. It was. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do we think's the biggest slut on Voyager? When it comes to the holodeck, I think we got to say Harry Kim. As Harry Kim smashes through the holodeck.
I mean, and Harry does have, but Harry doesn't come off as a sort of like person that's entirely comfortable with themselves half the time. Just like where,
He seems very self-confident. I don't know. Harry's good stuff, and he's got to do something instead of getting promoted.
Yeah.
Well, the first Harry Kim from like the first season or two, or the one
No,
after he
the
gets
competent
killed
Harry-
and then he comes in from the
yes,
other
true,
universe.
true.
Yeah.
Competent
Yeah.
Harry Kim, who's always saving the ship and never getting any accolades.
Any promoted.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's Janeway.
You think it's Janeway?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. She is very confident. She's very in charge. She knows what she wants, but she also doesn't feel like she needs to flaunt anything because true power is very quiet.
Yeah, and she's just like, delete that wife.
Yeah.
'cause
Exactly.
that
That's
shit-
what I was thinking.
She's
of.
a home wrecker. I don't know if she's the best type.
No, it's a holodeck home record. It's fine.
Yeah.
Is that
Oh.
fine?
Ooh,
Is that fine?
this fall on HGTV.
Yeah. Holodeck home wrecker.
Love to see it.
Beautiful.
But yeah, like, there's not really a lot of like. I mean, I do love the Doctor's forays, because that's also kind of like, almost like, as you're saying, like slut and almost asexuality, or not then, because like, because like it is some of those fantasies where he's very romantic and just like has a very just like sexual type person, and he's exploring
Right.
those feelings, and he's an AI.
Do you think anyone's ever used the EMH for sexual purposes?
I'd hope not, because I don't know.
No, I don't think the EMH specifically. I just think there's other things on the holodeck. Like, if you have sex toys, why would you like fuck a cardboard box? You know what I mean? Like, you can make anything.
What if it's a really sexy cardboard box?
That's true.
I mean, you see her over there.
Look at that little Amazon
See
smile
that,
on those
that hot little
boxes.
slut sitting on that chair. What's up, baby? You're full of shirts right now, but later you can be full cum.
I thought that's just what how you made the shirts.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It's
Yeah. They
Skeet-
do have a scent to them.
skeet printing.
Take that T-shirt press and go.
Hot cum. Excellent.
Hot off the presses.
I wonder. I mean, there's got to be a market for people who would buy came on shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they sell. Panties. Used.
Oh
panties.
yeah, use panties.
Socks.
Socks.
Yeah.
Yeah, just use socks. Use shirts.
Yeah, if you want my socks, they're $100 a pair. Hit me up on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
Star Trek stripper Lucy Blue Skies.
You might think
Send
this
you
is a
some
joke,
socks.
but this is actually an
Hell
advertisement.
no. Hell no. I'm trying to make money.
Hell yeah. Let's talk about Risa.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So Risa is known as the pleasure planet, and people go there not only to relax but also to get their rocks off. We know Riker goes there specifically for the women. In an episode, he says you got to go. He recommends that. I think it's the episode Captain's Holiday, I want to say.
Yeah.
Where Picard goes on holiday to Risa on Riker's recommendation. And Riker says, you won't believe what the women can do.
Yeah. And poor
Something like
Picard
that.
just wanted to read that damn book.
No,
And
but
no one would let him have any peace.
but no, you got some pussy in a cave.
Yeah.
You got some
did,
pussy in a cave. You got some cave pussy.
And I do like how, even though it was on like the supposed pleasure planning, and Riker tricks him into having the John Maroon, like Picard still has that experience on his own terms.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he meets someone that he just like vibes with, and
Yeah.
that's why Vash is my favorite Picard girl. Like I don't know. I think they paired very well together,
Yeah, because she's like an archaeologist type, an Indiana Jones type.
and sort of like fulfills that sort of like thing that Picard has, that part of Picard that he
the
doesn't-
yearning.
the yearning, and it's like, and a part of himself that he doesn't really explore much overtly, just like that sense of adventure, because as we saw, like there's a difference between TNG Picard and Picard,
Right.
where TNG Picard, he's very formal. He really takes his job as the representation of Starfleet very seriously. So he wants to be seen as very, very put together, very
Right.
and so he doesn't get to really explore that sort of like side of himself.
Right.
And with Vash, he felt more comfortable exploring that sense of adventure and like, you know, punching a Ferengi in the face and having
Right.
like a
And I think a big part of that too is his comfort level with her, in that he didn't feel like he had to be a representative of Starfleet there.
Yes.
So he's like,
because she's outside of Starfleet.
exactly. And so he's like, well, if I give her bad dick, it's not going to reflect poorly on the United Federation of Planets, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Because whereas Riker's like, if I give bad dick, at least I fucked. And, you know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I did love that for Picard, but I did Risa. Yeah, is a very fun. It's a very interesting thing because I wish they would go into more of like the planet's history, like how it evolved, because it definitely seems like more of it's just like a sort of like retreat, like it's one of those like retreats they have in like California where it's just like you know, just like the anything goes type retreat.
Oh, hedonism is the thing you're thinking about. The thing they have in Jamaica. Yeah. It's like a resort, kind of a sex resort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of having a planet devoted to having open-minded people there, where you can really be your true self. You know, sex doesn't need to saturate every part of life, but you know, having it all on one planet, I'm like, whoa. You don't like my take, thanks.
I was restarting the bridge noise and I accidentally hit the toilet.
Hit the toilet sound by accident.
Accurate.
Apologies.
No apologies. That was great.
So, when it comes to absolute body count, who do you think has the highest body count in Star Trek?
Dax.
Dax?
Yeah.
I mean,
Dax by thousands and thousands and
on
thousands.
screen.
Oh, Riker.
Yeah, Riker.
Yeah,
It is,
Riker.
in fact, Riker.
Yeah, it's definitely Riker.
There was a big discussion online of whether it was Riker or Kirk that was the bigger Casanova.
No,
'Cause
Kirk
Kirk-
was just smooching. Kirk was
did, yeah.
kissing to get out of and into situations. Riker goes all the way. Like
Riker goes balls
yeah,
deep.
Yeah, and also just like any gender, very open-minded. Will try
Yeah.
anything. Kirk,
Any color,
no.
any gender,
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it breathing? Can it consent? We're down. Kirk
yeah.
doesn't give me the I want this to be consensual and wonderful for my partner vibe.
Yeah, he does the Jimmy Stewart kiss where he
Yeah.
pulls him in, like he's like, you're mine now.
Yeah.
You're mine.
Yeah, as like saying earlier, like I think that is like sort of like the influence of like the male adventurer comics that were popular at that
Yes,
time,
yeah.
where it's just like you have like the slave girls, and then you take women by force and give them like big old smooches, and it's just like that's definitely like a product of its time, like 1960s, you know.
Which that's also fine if that's what you're into, but
Yeah.
talk to your partner about that.
Talk to 'em.
Make sure
Absolutely.
they're into it as well.
Yeah, if you want to do 1960s like cosplay, sex LARPing shit.
Yeah.
I mean, Bashir was doing the 1960s LARPing, and that was he was having fun.
Him and Garrick.
Him and Garrick were having fun.
Capital F,
Yeah.
capital F, capital C.
The F word.
Yeah, F word. That's why I do wonder if like Kirk's would have been higher if he had been around in the 90s when TNG was made, because I do feel like
Sure.
there was probably a healthier and more open depiction of sex on television at that point in the 90s. So like we could see Riker just be like, we fucking.
Indeed. So, we've definitely been talking a lot about biggest sluts in Star Trek, and Dax, the symbiont, is definitely one of them. I mean, who do you think has a bigger body count, Jadzia or Curzon?
I think Curzon.
Yeah.
Because Jadzia only lived for a few years, unfortunately, with the Dax symbiont.
Yes.
And I can't believe that they were as big of a slut before the symbiont. No.
Also, the woman that Jadzia makes out with, was that a relationship Dax had as Curzon? I can't remember.
I don't recall.
I believe that was Curzon or Tobin?
Okay. Tobin was hot.
Yeah.
Tobin's a hottie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or wait, was Tobin the nervous one?
Oh, was it? I'm talking about the musician one. Who is that one?
Oh God.
Joran. Joran?
Yeah.
Joran,
yeah.
is that right? Joran?
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Now I wonder, like, let's say you have Jadzia before the symbiont. They have a kink.
Okay.
And then the symbiont is added. Does that symbiont pick up that kink?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
That's why
All
the,
right.
the symbiont is like, so into being a slut is because like they're into everybody's thing.
Yeah.
Because they've traveled the galaxy, getting into everybody's thing.
So you just basically you're like a Pokemon. You're collecting them all.
It's a kink like a kink chameleon, like a kink million.
Kink chameleon.
Yeah, kink
Oh
chameleon.
my gosh! Wow.
Kink chameleon.
Excellent.
You come and go.
Come.
And go.
Come.
Because yeah, I mean, Jadzia did pick up Curzon's love of Klingon culture, so it would track that you would pick up all of the kinks as well.
Now the other side of that, let's say like your symbiont has a foot fetish, but you're really disgusted by feet. How does that work out in the body? How do you hash that out?
Do they
you-
do they negate each other?
Yeah, do you become more open-minded, or
Yeah, you
is
become
it
foot
something
neutral.
where or
Foot neutral.
foot neutrality?
all right.
That's what we need to talk about. We need to talk about foot neutrality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I mean,
Something
these
to
are
think
all
about.
questions we have to actually go to some like Star Trek Las Vegas or something when the actors are there and then barrage them with these
Yeah,
questions like
yes.
we demand answers
Yes.
and get kicked out.
Yes, as we're being dragged out in handcuffs all together.
Yeah, being
Yeah.
tased.
Yep.
Like, tell me, do you get the foot fetishes?
So I do personally feel like new Star Trek isn't quite as slutty as especially 90s Star Trek was.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is Gene Roddenberry not being involved, you
True.
know. The Roddenberry kids, I feel like, are not nearly as slutty as Gene was.
No.
And so we haven't really seen a Gene stand-in since, in my opinion, William Riker.
Yeah.
You know.
And Rick Berman, I just felt was kind of just like perverted and
Perverted,
and lecherous.
Yeah.
not really
Yeah.
like.
It was not
sex-
sexual, he was objectifying.
It wasn't sex positive. It was
No.
more just like especially with the Enterprise. He was like it was we did, and I do feel like it is sort of like you kind of see sort of like almost like what was old is new again, sort of like more of like a conservative view of just like sexual identity like, or sexual openness, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes it's hard to portray sex and sexuality in a way that is palatable for everyone and doesn't come off as like gratuitous.
Yeah.
And I think that gratuitous sexual content doesn't exactly fit in Star Trek because they did it with Risa and Riker and they did it so well
Yes.
that I almost wouldn't want to see that reignited and done poorly.
Yeah, that's a great point, and it was a point that someone made on Twitter, I think, that William T. Riker was the last truly like positive sexual man on like network television. Basically, you don't see anyone who is so outwardly cis male.
Yep.
And outwardly positive about sexuality in any media today. Usually if there's a cis guy that's sexual, he's like smarmy, or he's, just like a himbo or something. Like there's no one quite like Riker when it comes to male sexuality.
You had the Boy Scout mentality where it's like leave them better than you were there.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
just-
yeah.
and so he
No,
was
he's-
definitely a Boy Scout in that sense.
He's a service switch.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree.
Yes.
Very servicey. Like he won't come until you do. That's
Yeah.
his rule. That's his rule.
And-
That's the Riker rule.
And you don't see any of like Riker's past sexual encounters come back to affect him negatively.
No, all of
In
them
any
who
sense.
see him again are like look at him whimsically, like
Yeah.
That's that good dick.
I know Deanna's just like, God damn you, Ismati.
Yeah.
Mzadi.
Imzadi.
Ismati.
Ismati. That sounds like a new type of Mazda or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm driving.
So, in doing research for this episode, I found this story that there's no other podcast or subject I could possibly bring it up on.
Yeah, I just saw the title. I'm like,
Yeah, you're intrigued,
Me?
aren't you? Yeah, no, exactly. Which is doing research for this episode. Like, this was on the same search that your Instagram was like the ninth thing for,
Hell
the ninth
yeah.
result for. But this was
Hell
like the
yeah.
fourth result. So the title of this article is Twitter, Star Trek, and Vegan Strippers.
yes.
Yes.
And yes, here I am.
And so let's just get right into it. It's not a very long article, but so on September 29th, the New York Times posted a story largely lifted from internet hype publication BuzzFeed, commenting on Newark, New Jersey Mayor Cory Booker's relationship with Portland, Oregon-based exotic dancer Lindsay Lee. Cory Booker, now the senior senator from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still the
And previously romantically linked with Rosario Dawson.
indeed.
Yeah.
And a lot of people believe he might be gay
Yes.
because he kind of comes off
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of like that was sort of like a
beard
relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when Riker grew the beard.
Yeah.
Cory Booker grew Rosario Dawson. The article continues. They'd met while both featured in a film on social media, became friendly, and followed each other on Twitter. After Booker tweeted, "I will be president of New Jersey Star Trek Club," Lee and another woman started joking about who would be the club's first lady, with Lee upping the ante by posting a screenshot of her direct message with Booker. And the direct message says this. Booker says, "And the East Coast loves you, and by the East Coast, I mean me." And she responds, "Well, now I'm blushing," smiley face. And he says, "It's only fair," which is it. That's it. The article continues. This was a type of polite flirting which wouldn't have been out of place in a shy MSN Messenger conversation from 2002, and bizarrely, the storyline of a salacious scandal was somehow extracted from it, which I agree with. Lindsay Lee is a stripper, somehow transformed the story into not safe for work by BuzzFeed standards, with the Times quoting that the occasional perils of Booker's reliance on social media became apparent Wednesday. Booker is single and is allowed to flirt, which I totally agree with. Yeah. And especially with a strip, that's cool. I would vote for someone who, was like hitting up strippers online.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly cool behavior, as long as they're cool with it.
Yeah.
Or you're paying them. So, yeah, this was kind of a weird non-story.
Yeah, it's funny that they wrote an article about it.
It is. I mean, this is an article about an article about an article.
Yeah.
So the original article was on BuzzFeed. New York Times posted about it, and then Uniter is writing about New York Times posting about
And
it.
so really this is just talking about how, like,
Cory Booker said he was going to be president of the New Jersey Star Trek Club, which, first off, what?
yeah, and he's just having a message with, like, another person.
Yeah.
Yeah, another person who likes Star Trek,
Yeah.
who's, like, active on social media. Like, yeah. And
Honestly, this is the most normal thing a politician has done.
exactly, straight up. It's like, no, it's a cool thing to do, and it was just like a nice message from like a blue check,
Yeah.
No one hates that.
Yeah.
I think if it's consensual and you're being respectful,
Yeah.
let
Which he
people do
was.
what they let people
Yeah.
do what they are. I don't
Yeah.
care if people are having sex or whatever. If as long as there's no minors or as long as it's consensual.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
I guess my disappointment in the story is they didn't have sex. I don't think.
Yeah, my disappointment in the story is that wasn't about me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really want to be talking with Cory Booker?
No, but it says Twitter, Star Trek, and vegan strippers, and
That's
that
true.
is me.
That's your search
yeah.
terms.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's not too late to DM Cory Booker.
Well,
Or
He
kill,
probably-
or kill Lindsay
I'm
Lee.
just gonna send him an emoji.
fair.
I'm not joking. I'm really
No,
gonna
do
do
it.
it from the Star
Okay.
Trek stripper account.
Do it. Do
doing
it.
it.
Do it. Do it.
Here, I'll post a screenshot as well.
Okay. And maybe he'll think you're Lindsay Lee and be like, "Hey, I probably shouldn't talk."
Wait,
to
does
you."
he have an Instagram?
I don't know. Does he?
Let me check.
A lot of politicians do,
I
which is
don't
strange to me.
Yeah, I feel like Cory Booker is like young enough.
Yeah, he's definitely on the socials.
Well, there's I just can't I can't tell. I didn't know what this person looked like before I searched them.
I don't think he does, actually.
Yeah, right here,
Yeah.
Cory Booker.
Which, will you send it to my profile, please?
Yes. Oh, and he's also followed by Jerry Ryan, Robbie Duncan McNeil. Let's see. Share this profile.
Thank
With
you.
Lindsay Blue Sky.
Robert
Lindsay
Duncan McNeil.
Blue Skies.
Lucy Blue Sky. Sorry.
Excuse me?
Wow.
I was mixing up the.
Wow. You two are officially fighting.
Patrick. I'm waiting for it. Yeah.
I got the other woman, the Lindsay Lee.
You were thinking about another
No.
woman.
No,
Yep.
no.
Yeah, go. No, it's fine.
You're not digging yourself a hole here, buddy. It's,
Thank you for sending me that.
all right, so send what emoji are you sending to Cory Booker?
I'm gonna send that smirky, smarmy little smiley face.
Oh yeah, I love using that one. That's
and then
that's
the
one.
Trekkie hand. I'm gonna post
Oh,
this
that's
on
good.
my stories. So if anyone's watching my stories and wondering what's happening, and then you listen to this podcast, that's what's going on here.
All right.
And Cory Booker is actually followed by the official Star Trek account.
Oh wow,
Wow.
that's they've posted my stuff before. Oh wait, no, is it the Star Trek or the Roddenberry Entertainment one?
The Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Star Trek Blue Check.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Okay, I'm doing it.
they've never reposted me. They're afraid of my memes.
They're afraid of.
They fear my subtext.
It happened.
Let me see.
Britain.
Hell yeah, you did it.
You did it.
You did a booker. You booked it.
Hell yeah.
Um,
All right. Sweet.
Rate your Corys. Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Cory Booker.
Corey Feldman. Horry Feldman.
Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my friend.
Corey Haim, think he got really sad at the end.
He did. I've seen Corey Feldman live with his Angels. It's pretty great. Pretty great live. Good
Yeah.
live performance.
Corey's Angels.
Corey's Angels.
Like
They
Charlie's
fucking rock.
Angels.
Yeah. Corey Haim was selling his teeth at the end of his life.
Oh, that's pretty. It's pretty cool. You got to have a trophy.
Yeah.
You got to keep
Exactly.
a trophy.
Bringing
Yeah.
it back.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. That's one of the teeth I have.
Yeah. Well, with that, maybe that's a good place to end it for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I think we'll have you on another 2 episodes starting in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you very much to Lucy Blue Skies at the Star Trek Stripper.
Yep. And
On-
at Lucy
on
Blue
Instagram?
Skies.
And at Lucy Blue Skies on Twitter, or
Instagram,
both?
yeah.
Okay,
Twitter
you're not on
is
Twitter at
Twitter's
all?
dying at this
Okay.
point.
Or, sorry,
it's
X.
Lucy underscore. Oh yeah, no, it's Twitter. It's Lucy underscore Blue Skies on Twitter. X, whatever. But you can always find me on Instagram if you want any of my merch. You can DM me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be checking both of our socials. We'll be posting more about Slut Trek as it comes up to
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Yes.
And we'll have merch. I'm sure I'll still have merch, so I'll probably just send you a big package of merch to just give away at the was it March show, May show.
May.
May?
Yeah. You guys
Yeah.
will be out there.
Oh, will we?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, neat. I guess we'll be out there.
Yeah.
So I might just bring a bunch of merch with me.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
load a 50-pound suitcase because that's all they allow you to take.
Yeah. We could both bring suitcases on. And,
True.
And
I mean, 50 pounds is a lot of merch, though.
That
That's a
is,
lot of
yeah.
especially if I don't include like candles. Like
yeah.
that's like that's like 100 shirts.
That's true.
So I don't know. We'll make it work. We'll our merch lives on, even though soytrek.com kind of doesn't. Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I guess that does it for us. Thanks for joining us, sluts and soyagers.
Yeah.
Be well, travel safe, and get slutty with it.
Hell yeah.
Take agency over your sexuality. Try to do what you want to sexually, but make sure, consent exists, in all situations.
Yeah.
And unless you're just, masturbating on a rooftop looking down at the little people like ants, you don't need to
Yeah.
ask each individual one of them.
Yeah.
Especially for coming off the building. They'll just think it's rain.
Yeah.
That's a, you know what?
Oh my God, is that what happened when we walked in? Something was dripping on me.
Yeah. I do a roof goo every now and again.
A roof goo.
Roof goo.
I do a roof
We
goo.
were knocking on the door for a very long time, so it makes sense that you were on the roof and had to scale down.
Yes.
Right.
And go back in and let us in.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Gotta do a roof goo, baby.
Did a roof goo.
Gotta do
know?
a roof goo.
All right. Well, thanks for trekking with the soy boys, girls, and Willy Beans.
Hang dong and Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.